My dad's going to teach you about his favorite plant, so you better listen.
Hi, this is Andre from Kill This Plant, and this is everything you need to know about plumeria. This plant should be kept outdoors in full sun for most of the day. I keep mine in a very sunny area which receives sunlight about from 10, 11 o'clock to about 6 in the afternoon. The main difference between Frangipanis and other tropical plants is that Frangipani goes through a true dormancy period. In the fall, when the temperature falls below 6 to 7 degrees Celsius, the plant should be brought indoors. These plants can be brought into nearly complete darkness in the fall and winter. I live in Canada, so my plants are kept in the basement for 8 months with nearly no light. During that 8-month period in the basement, the leaves will all fall off and there's absolutely no need to water it. Even in the darkness, when spring comes, the plants will start shooting little leaves. That's when you can start watering them again, preparing them to now live outdoors. Fully saturate the soil when you water this plant, and you want to water based on light and temperature. When I water these plants, I water them every 3 to 4 days, unless it is extreme heat, which I may have to water them every day. I can tell when they need watering visually or by touch or by a moisture meter. So my soil mixture for these plants is a cactus mix plus a tropical plant mix and also some added sand for drainage. Make sure you use play sand because salt is washed out of it. Today I'm going to show you how I usually pot up my Frangipanis. I'm going to take this one. This is a Temptation from Jungle Jacks. This was grown from seed. Now, this part was growing like so instead of like so. So it just looked too weird to me, and I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. So what I did was I cut this off, but I wanted to, instead of throwing this away, I wanted to actually pot it up to see if it is going to work. Now there's some material down here which is hard like this, but I got a lot of green, so I'm not quite sure if this is going to work. So here's what I'm going to do, and this is the basis for all of my Frangipani pots, how I plant them up. So I take a little bit of cactus mix, okay, and then I'm going to mix it with a little bit of tropical soil, and I'm going to mix that in, right? And I'm going to take some sand, like a small handful. I'm going to spread that over and mix it in. I got it up to the height that I need it. Okay, so I'm going to take this. This is my rooting hormone, which I'm going to dip this in. Make sure it's well covered. I've made a hole in the center here where it'll fit. So I'm gonna just push this in the center, and I'm gonna pat it down. Make sure it's well in there and tight. It should be able to stand on its own. And incidentally, this piece I had left on the table here in part sun for at least 3 days to callus over. If this piece looked like this, it wouldn't take me that long, because I've had success with leaving a piece like this an hour or 2. Okay, but most people recommend a week. You don't necessarily have to wait that long. And this rooting hormone really helps. So now all you have to do is water this and let it sit. Make sure you use pot sizes that are relatively small because these plants have fine roots and a small root ball. They almost never become root bound. You can increase the pot size by 1 inch depending on the total mass of the plant. This plant has been in the same pot size for 10 years and probably won't need to increase for another 2. Because the root of this plant is so fine, they can easily blow over in the wind. But these basically grow like weeds. Another thing too, like speaking of wind, is I've had so many incidents where like the plant is growing great, like you have, you know, 3 branches, because that's how I like. I need more than 2 branches. I think it has to have 3 or 4, right? So what happens, the wind knocks it over and boom, breaks off. So now the plant looks weird. And you either have to like start again and make different cut-ins. So it's very important that you keep it out of the wind, you know? Because what I do usually, if it's going to be windy, I take this chair and jam it up against there so it doesn't fall. Okay. And that's why I tie a lot of them to the gazebo. But that's neither here nor there. So what's next? To get your frangipani to bloom, other than great lighting, you need to fertilize your plant. Any fertilizer designed for blooming will have a high middle number. I prefer the liquid fertilizer as opposed to the slow release granules. I find the slow release is just really too slow, and the summer season here in Canada is really too short. I need to bloom quickly. If you use Miracle-Gro, like me, the purple box has 15, 30, 15. The higher the phosphorus, the better the blooms. It doesn't matter the brand you use, but be sure to follow the directions of how to mix it and how frequently to use it. The plant can bloom yearly, but depending on the species, it could bloom every other year. With me, I find that my pink frangipani is a yearly bloomer, except for this year. I do have a white one, which not only blooms every year, but it blooms on every branch. And that is a different type of species. It's the long one with the long, slender leaves. Telltale signs of blooming starts with like a flower stalk, and you'll see little bumps, teeny little bumps all around this flower stalk, and that is what turns into the blossom and actually blooms. These stalks then slowly grow into the flower buds. The frangipani will branch naturally, sometimes immediately after flowering, or sometimes at the beginning of the season. When it branches, it will grow into 2, 3, or 4 branches.
Does it always split or like not necessarily?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
Because they eventually fall off anyway. But like probably by, and that's near the end of the season. So by the next season, you may see another shoot starting to form and grow off to grow into another stalk. As summer comes to an end and the temperature starts to get lower, the leaves will naturally start to yellow and fall off. Keep an eye on nighttime temperatures because for at least 2 weeks, you need to prepare to take care of any pests this plant might have. You should start spraying the entire plant with an insecticidal spray. The pests you have to look out for the most are spider mites, mealybugs, and aphids. This is especially important because ants will actually use aphids and mealybugs to farm this plant. So the ants will find pests, place them on the frangipani, and as the pest eats the plants, the ants eat the pest droppings. You can use any insecticidal soap. I prefer a homemade rubbing alcohol-based spray that Lee says he'll put in the description. Make sure you spray the plant after sundown because some of the oils in the spray could damage the leaves of the plant, especially when they're getting direct sun. As temperature gets below 6 or 7 degrees, make sure you water your plants thoroughly one last time before you take them in the house. When your plants are back indoors, check on them every 2 weeks to make sure you remove any leaves that are completely yellow. If you do see any pests on the plants at this time, make sure you spray to remove any of those, especially spider mites. Even if there are no leaves on the plants, you should still be checking for pests. You won't need to water the plants again until you see new growth in the springtime. Unless the stem of the plant is extremely shriveled during the winter, you may need to water it partially once. Okay, this is my sunroom where in the winter all my plants are housed. I have so many of them, mostly the Frangipani, that whatever won't fit in here are the ones that go to the basement. The Frangipani don't have to be in complete darkness, but there's no harm if they need to be there. Once you're past the frost date and nighttime temperatures are consistently over 7 to 10 degrees in the spring, you can move your plants back outside into its permanent sunny spot. If there are any nights with extreme cold in early spring, bring it inside for the night and place it back outdoors in the morning. What I do before I start to take my plants back out, I make sure all threats of frost are gone, which is usually around the May 24th weekend, which is Victoria Day in Canada.
My dad kept asking me over and over, when am I getting paid for this? So I bought him a plant instead. I got him a variegated plumeria, and his reaction the first time was not excited enough for me, so I got him to do it over again.
Can you do the whole, you're excited to see it again?
Wow, Lee, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, thank you.
And Lee, you have to listen to me because after all, I am your dad.